Hey guys, it's Nate Dad. Today I want to talk to you about fear. Fear of different things, not just spiders, and snakes and stuff, but actual real fear.
I feel like I don't know anymore. I just don't know.
Over the course of the last couple of weeks, I've been in several conversations about fear and the power that it has over everybody. And so I took to social media, Facebook and Snapchat, and asked people a simple question. What are the top 3 things that scare you, and what are your top 3 fears? Now, obviously, not everybody likes to be scared, but we've all seen scary movies. And the list of things that people are scared by can go on infinitely. My wife is scared of spiders. My daughter a little bit as well. I know some people that are scared by lizards, snakes, creatures, creepy crawlies, things like that. But fears, on the other hand, tend to dive a little bit deeper, to really get into the heart and the mind of people. Fear. Now, while there are a number of definitions for fear, they basically are summarized in an unpleasant emotion or thought caused by injury, danger, pain, evil, worry, or anxiety. So as we're talking about fear, the first thing you got to know is that there are rules and or parameters that follow along with any real legitimate fear. First thing is it's got to be possible. Now, that can be based on a current or future circumstance, fueled by current held opinions, based on your observations, your experiences. But as a child, we used to think that there were monsters in the closets and under the bed. But as we grew up and we learned that's not a possibility, that fear dissipated. Second great characteristic of a nice, healthy fear is that we have limited or no power to control it. That means there are outside forces at play. People, places, weather, a lot of conditions that we cannot control can feed into our fears and make them massive. Typically, fears always take place in the future. These are coming attractions, movies based on a script written in your head that never turns out well. Coming soon to a life near you. Oh boy. Our deep fears can be living in our conscious or our subconscious. We can be aware sometimes of something that scares us, or we can be made aware by events around us or in dreams. For a lot of people, their deeper fears are based on previous experiences or observations. PTSD occurs because people have seen things very traumatic that haunt them the rest of their lives. Or maybe you were abused as a child, and because of that, you've got underlying feels about abandonment or being abused to some degree or another. The reality of it is that based on what we see and what we do, it alters our perception and the way we view things. And that is a breeding ground for fear. Fear has the power to paralyze us or to push us. It can leave us curled up in a ball at home in bed, or ascending to new heights in our life. Through my Facebook poll, I confirmed a theory, actually a truth that I knew. For a lot of people, fears are based on loves of their life. What that is a lot of mothers are afraid of losing their kids, husbands, wives, their spouses, animals, something that you've poured your love into, your time and your effort. There's always a fear of that being removed. Family and friends always top the list. These are people that bring you joy, that you've poured into and have poured into your life. Valuable. They'd be a big loss. And now 2 truths about fear that are on the good side. The first is that fear is not truth. Fear is things in the future that we have no control over, but they've not come to pass. And the second is because fear is not truth, we have the power to minimize its power and control over us. We can review them, we can analyze them, We can talk them with other people, make preparations where we're able to avoid them or to be able to combat them if they ever should arise. But we have power to keep them from controlling us. All right, so now that we've kind of qualified the foundation of fear, the rules, and kind of the reality of what it looks like, let's talk about the real life application of what fear does, what it can be, but also what we can do about it and how we squash it, keep it from running us. The first thing we have to remember when we talk about practical application when it comes to fear is that fear is a God-given emotion. Proverbs 9:10 says that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. And what I learned by that is that great and powerful things demand respect, and it is intelligent and wise to fear them. For instance, the ocean or great cold or great fire all have great and powerful and destructive characteristics and abilities. But handled with respect and dealt with in a proper manner, they're all tools that can be used effectively and efficiently as well to benefit us. Wise man once taught me that it isn't so much that fear is the opposite of faith, but rather that fear is the absence of faith. And so where faith is, fear has no power. And that all comes to the fact that God's been with me in the past. He's helped me overcome times and situations where I was petrified because I didn't know what the outcome was. But what I did was I put one foot in front of the other, and I trusted that He was in that moment, that it wasn't just up to me, that He was planning it, He was processing it, and bringing it to fruition. And when I can do that, my fears don't have power over me anymore, because the reality of it is that God is in control. I'm not. So in my poll, I got a lot of responses from adults, and I got 2 from teenagers. This is one of them. To summarize, fear is natural. Everybody experiences it, everybody goes through it in varying degrees, so it's not odd. But the thing that you've got to remember is that you have the capacity and the ability to feed that fear or to squash that fear. We all remember when we were kids, whether there was a monster in the closet or a monster under the bed. And it was real and it was live until, boom, we hit it with the flashlight. And that fear dissipated. It was gone because there was nothing there. Fear is the boogeyman. And we have the ability to examine what our fear is, look at it for its legitimacy. I mean, anytime you bring your fear into the light, you're minimizing it because you're able to really see what it truly is. Not just what your mind's doing with it, but what it really, really is. And anytime you get to the point where you're caught up in fear, that's the best thing you can do to try and squash it, minimize it, and cut it off at the pass. Look at it. Don't run from it. Don't hide from it. And here's a good thing. There are always people who have experienced or lived through exactly the things that you're afraid of. Find people to talk to about it. That's got to be your inner circle, people that you trust. But share those fears, examine them, talk about them, and by doing so, not only are you cutting them in half because you're sharing them with somebody else, but you're exposing them to the light. And you're going to find that what was a lion or a monster or a dragon was only a shadow of a mouse. Nothing big, nothing to worry about. So don't let fear run your life. Know that it's there, know it's going to happen, but don't run from it. Face it. Don't let it define you. Work through it. Love you guys. Thanks for the time. Nate Dad out. I know, scary.